Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at the latest ENSO update for February 2026, specifically focusing on La Niña, the ongoing transition from La Niña to neutral conditions, and what that can mean for weather patterns and the hurricane season later this year. I'm a meteorology student and future meteorologist, and my goal here is to break down the science in a clear, realistic way with no hype, just data driven analysis. Now let's take a quick refresher. Now let's begin with El Nino. During El Nino, sea surface temperatures across the central and eastern Pacific Ocean become warmer than normal. Warm water heats the air above it, causing that air to rise. This creates a stronger convection over the Pacific Ocean, and that rising air has to sink somewhere else. And one of those places is over the Atlantic Basin. That sinking air increases upper level westerly winds over the Caribbean and tropical Atlantic, which leads to increased vertical wind shear. Wind shear is basically a change in wind speed or direction with height, and hurricanes absolutely hate it. So during El Nino years, Atlantic hurricanes struggle to organize. At the same time, El Nino typically shifts the jet stream farther south, bringing wetter conditions to California and the southern United States. Milder winters in the northern states, drier conditions across the Pacific Northwest. So El Nino tends to suppress Atlantic storms while redistributing rainfall across large portions of the United States. Now, La Nina is basically the opposite. During La Nina, the Pacific cools down, which weakens the rising motion there and strengthens it farther to the west. That shift reduces sinking air over the Atlantic and weakens the upper level westerlies, meaning wind shear drops. Lower wind shear creates a much more favorable environment for hurricanes to develop and intensify. That's why La Nina seasons are often more active in the Atlantic. In terms of United States weather, La Nina typically brings drier conditions across the southern United States, wetter conditions in the Pacific Northwest, increased chances of colder outbreaks in the northern states. So while El Nino suppresses Atlantic activity and boosts rainfall in the south, La Nina tends to enhance hurricanes and push precipitation northward. As of February 2026, La Nina is still technically present, but it is currently weakening. Sea surface temperatures in the Niño 3.4 region are still negative, but subsurface heat has been moving eastward, and that is a classic signal of decay. In meteorology, we pay close attention to subsurface warming because surface conditions usually follow. Right now, NOAA is given about a 60% chance of transitioning to ENSO-neutral this spring, with neutral conditions likely persisting into the summer. So while La Nina hasn't fully ended, the ocean atmosphere system is clearly shifting. So, what we're generally going to expect when we transition from a La Nina to more of a neutral pattern is we're going to see less persistent cold intrusions in the north, more frequent warm spells, greater regional variability. So in the south, we are going to see above average temperatures, especially in the Florida region and over here in the New Mexico region. When it comes to precipitation, I know that right now Florida is going through a pretty big drought as well parts of Texas. Unfortunately, with this kind of setup, there is not typically going to be above average rainfall in the south. However, up in the north, up in Illinois and Michigan, there will be above average rainfall. All right, this is where things get interesting. This map shows sea surface temperature anomalies, meaning how much warmer or cooler the ocean is compared to average. Yellows and red indicate above average temperatures, blues indicate below average temperatures. First, if we take a look over in the Pacific Ocean, you can see cooler than average waters across portions of the central Pacific. That's the fading La Nina signal. But notice how it's not particularly intense. The cold anomalies are weakening. Now shift your focus over to the Atlantic basin. The tropical Atlantic is running warmer than normal. That's important. Warm Atlantic sea surface temperatures provide fuel for tropical cyclones. So even if the ENSO transitions to neutral, a warm Atlantic can independently support an active hurricane season. Also notice the widespread global warmth. Much of the world's oceans are above average. That background warmth matters for seasonal energy availability. So what does that mean? The Pacific signal is weakening. The Atlantic is warm. Wind shear will depend on ENSO evolution. This sets a stage for potentially an interesting hurricane season, but it's still too early for definitive conclusions. As always, ocean temperatures are just one ingredient. We'll need to monitor wind shear patterns, Saharan dust, and subtropical ridging as we head towards peak season. So now the big question, do we actually know what this hurricane season will look like yet? The honest answer is not with high confidence. Right now, confidence is moderate that the ENSO pattern is going to go from La Niña to neutral. Subsurface heat content supports it. Most forecast models are in agreement, and La Niña's atmospheric coupling is clearly weakening. The ENSO evolution is never linear. So over the next 4 to 8 weeks, we'll be closely watching those values, the upper ocean heat content, and trade wind anomalies for confirmation. If neutral conditions hold heading into the peak hurricane season, then activity will depend much more on Atlantic sea surface temperatures, wind shear patterns, Saharan dust, and large-scale ridging setups. And as we just saw, the Atlantic Ocean is already running warm. I'll continue monitoring the data and posting updates as new information comes in. So everyone, just be weather aware, never be scared, and just be prepared. If you found this helpful, feel free to like and subscribe, and thank you for learning weather with me.